As the court reconvened, a quiet tension filled the room. California and Sue noticed a new presence toward the back. Terry Brandt, seated with an unmistakable smirk, his gaze cold and calculating as he watched the proceedings with a predatory interest. His posture was casual, but there was a sinister gleam in his eyes, as if he relished the idea of this family's struggle. He leaned back in his seat, crossing his arms, his presence a quiet but pointed reminder of the opposition they faced. But Elena remained focused. She moved forward, a folded letter in her hand, her face filled with the gravity of what she was about to share. She cleared her throat, glancing at the judge before addressing the courtroom. Your Honor, before I present further evidence in favor of Ms. Smith and Ms. McGee's petition, I would like to read a letter from Macaulay's father, who is unable to be here today. In this letter, he expresses his feelings regarding his son's current placement and his hopes for Macaulay's future. She unfolded the letter with gentle hands, then began reading in a steady voice. To whom it may concern, she started, pausing as she steadied her voice, I am writing this letter from the only place I can speak from, a place where I made mistakes and where I live every day with the consequences of those mistakes. But no mistake I have ever made has been greater than failing my son. I didn't have the courage to give him a life he deserved, and I couldn't be the father he needed. But somehow, by a miracle, he has found people who can. Elena's voice softened as she continued. I was afraid of what would happen to him, afraid he'd be alone and unsafe like I was. And then I found out that two incredible people, Sue and California, stepped into his life, giving him the love and stability I could never provide. When I heard about these women, I was relieved beyond words. They have given him what I couldn't, a real family. A hush had fallen over the courtroom, everyone listening intently, the sincerity of the words piercing the air. California felt Sue's hand squeeze hers tightly, both of them holding back tears. Elena paused briefly, her voice thick with emotion as she continued. I don't know these women well, but I know my son. I know that for the first time in his life, he is safe and surrounded by love. I have heard about the moments they have spent with him, moments filled with laughter, warmth, and understanding. These women have done what I could only dream of. They have shown him a life where he knows he's wanted. Judge Whitaker's expression softened, and even Miss Colburn's eyes seemed misty. At the back, Terry's smirk had faded, his expression hardening as he watched, his arms crossed tightly. Elena took a breath, her voice trembling slightly as she read on. Please understand this. I am not asking for pity, nor am I asking for leniency. I am asking for mercy for my son. Let him stay with the family who has shown him what love truly means. Don't take him away from the people who have given him a chance I couldn't. There were soft murmurs in the gallery, people dabbing at their eyes. Macaulay looked down, his own eyes filled with tears, his small frame trembling as he listened to his father's heartfelt words. Elena continued, her voice breaking as she reached the last lines. If there's anything I can do from this place, it's to tell you that I want what's best for my son. And what's best for him is to stay with Sue and California. They love him, they fight for him, and they would do anything to see him happy. Please let him keep that chance. Signed, Raymond Deerfoot. She folded the letter carefully, her gaze sweeping over the courtroom, lingering for a moment on Macaulay, who sat wiping his eyes, then over to the judge. The room was still, the raw emotion of the letter filling the silence. California looked down, her own face wet with tears as she held Sue's hand tightly, each of them feeling the overwhelming weight of Raymond's words. Even Judge Whitaker seemed affected, nodding slowly as he processed the letter's impact. Terry Brandt, sitting in the back, scowled, his lips pressed into a thin line, a flash of irritation in his eyes as he watched the court's reaction. With quiet composure, Elena returned to her seat, the depth of the father's love lingering in the air, casting a powerful contrast to the arguments presented by the state. In that moment, the letter had given voice to something beyond legality. It had captured the essence of family, of love, and of redemption, all through the eyes of a father who wanted only the best for his son. Judge Whitaker turned to the state's attorney. Ms. Colburn, would you like to cross-examine? Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Colburn replied, standing with a cool, confident expression as she approached Father Trevors. Father Trevors, she began smoothly, I understand that you lead an addiction recovery group at your church, and that California was a member of this group. How long exactly was she in the program? Father Trevors maintained his calm, meeting her gaze with quiet dignity. California attended our recovery meetings regularly for over a year, and she continues to check in with the group. Miss Colburn nodded, a small, pointed smile on her face. And during that time, did she ever fall off the wagon? Relapse, perhaps? Father Trevors's brow furrowed slightly, but he kept his composure. California has remained dedicated to her recovery throughout. She faced struggles as anyone would, but she did not relapse. Miss Colburn's gaze narrowed. So she's had no trouble staying on track at all? California has faced her challenges with determination, he replied, a hint of firmness in his tone. She has worked hard, and I believe that speaks to her commitment. Miss Colburn tilted her head, the faintest smirk on her lips. And you yourself have also struggled with addiction, correct, Father? A murmur spread through the room, but Father Trevors kept his composure, lifting his chin slightly. That is correct. I am open about my past, as it helps others feel they are not alone in their struggles. She took a step closer, her gaze piercing. Do you think your own experience, then, might have colored your view of California's situation? That perhaps you see what you want to see, because it's familiar? Before he could respond, Elena rose from her seat. Objection, Your Honor. Miss Colburn's line of questioning is irrelevant to the case. Father Trevors's personal history is not on trial here. Judge Whitaker considered the objection for a moment, then nodded. Sustained. Ms. Colburn, please keep your questions relevant to the matter at hand. Ms. Colburn's face tightened, but she maintained her composure, turning back to Father Trevors. Thank you, Father. I have no further questions. Father Trevors stepped down from the witness stand, his calm, dignified expression unwavering as he returned to his seat. California and Sue shared a look of gratitude and admiration for him, feeling comforted by his resilience in the face of Miss Colburn's tactics. Miss Colburn, unruffled, turned back to the judge. Your Honor, the state would like to call John Littlefield to the stand.